Well, hello and a very good morning. Thanks for tuning in to News 9 Live. I'm Kabir Naqvi. Joining me here in the studio is my colleague Nancy Bora, and what we're essentially up to every day at 8 a.m. is to take a look at the overnight developments, quite a few this time around, to take a look at the top headlines across various newspapers, Hindi, English, newspapers from down south, some regional tabloid headlines as well. And that's not all. We'll also talk about what the social media is abuzz with right here. And if there's a meme that's going viral, the meme lord sitting right next to me. And if there's a video that's going viral, well, we'll try and throw it up here on the big wall for all of you to see. However, I say it every now and then, not most viral videos can be thrown up for public consumption. But we have a list of stories that we will cover over the next couple of minutes. The idea is to make sure that you can catch the news pulse of the day. This is your one-stop shop. You need not go anywhere else. If you don't like reading the newspapers, well, we'll read it out for you with the right visuals, with the right kind of context nuances, and a thorough discussion if it requires. But if there is at all anything that you'd want us to do, well, then get down in the comment sections as we try to break these rigid structures of the newsroom, the editorial walls. How about you also help us out? Get into the process, help Nancy and I out about what we should do, a discussion, debate, a deliberation on any of these topics, whatever it might be, the nuanced perspective with the right kind of balanced voices, that's what we can vouch at the moment. Now, there is a time limit that we have to adhere to, which is why Nancy has been kind enough to, jot down a list of stories that we must touch upon. She suggests Anantnag encounter, which is still on in Karnataka. That is something that we must definitely touch upon because we've already lost 3 brave hearts. Lots of other information that's trickling out of South Kashmir, and I really don't want to throw up all of that information at once. Really want our team to first confirm exactly what's happening in South Kashmir and then put it out. A delay in the breaking of the news is not essentially any of our concern here. The right kind of news is what we're dealing with right now, ladies and gentlemen. So Anantnag encounter, even as we're learning that Colonel Manpreet's body has, in fact, the mortal remains have reached back to his residence. People are just constantly crying. Yesterday we heard his mother saying that he was going to come back for the Diwali break, and right before that, Nancy. Tragic. It's really sad.
It's
really
heartbreaking to see, newspapers have been covering the stories about, how their family are dealing with the loss, and how, we have, a report of how, what was the last call, what was the last they heard of, all these soldiers. So I think it's heartbreaking to see what is going on, and although the operations has been going on, so I just want that we get to the crux of it, and we
absolutely their lives they will not go in vain. That's for sure. The security forces are being persistent. Meanwhile, let's take a look at what else we have for you to cover. We've got the Prime Minister who's picked up the Sanatana Dharma jibe as well. The Prime Minister who's picked up the Sanatana Dharma jibe as his top campaign theme. We're going to play out that reaction real quickly. There are 3 Tamil Nadu women who have been trained to become temple priests now. That is a real progressive step in Tamil Nadu. Congress is planning a Bharat Jodo Yatra 2.0 ahead of 2024 polls. You've got the Congress MLA who's been arrested in that new violence case. The central team has picked up samples from the Nipah hit areas. Schools have been shut down. What's more, after Tamil Nadu, Karnataka has now issued advisory. So everybody's getting scared as well. 6-year ban for convicted netas inadequate. This is what the amicus to the Supreme Court has said. Congress MLA arrested for new violence. Aditya L1 performed its 4th maneuver. We're going to show you that tweet from ISRO with the latest information. Meanwhile, I'm reading here on the top page that Hunter Biden has been indicted on federal firearms charges. The latest and the weightiest step yet in a long-running probe against the president's son. That is something that I'm going to touch upon. NASA's UFO report. Chinese PLA doing drills near Taiwan, and of course, what is Saurav Ganguly and Mamata Banerjee up to in Spain, and La Liga in that mix as well. Football, Kolkata, West Bengal, Spain, La Liga, Atletico de Kolkata, so many connections over there. But again, Saurav Ganguly, we all know that he really loves the sport football as well. But again, circling back to Colonel Manpreet Singh, and the 3 brave hearts who laid down their lives in Karnataka, in Anantnag, in the southern Kashmir. the encounter still rages on, ladies and gentlemen. Nancy, it's what, now the third day of the encounter, still going on. We were just looking at those visuals of Colonel Manpreet's mortal remains coming back to Chandigarh, near Chandigarh, where his residence is. That's Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha, who's laying the wreath. Meanwhile, army and police have intensified their search. The encounter is ongoing even after 48 hours. We're into the third day, Nancy.
And the operation has been getting intense with every day passing. Indian Army has been calling off extra support, extra tactic support to tackle these. Yesterday we had the latest information that 2 LAT terrorists have been encircled.
Right. One of them being Uzair Khan, who's the leader of the the TRF, the resistance force, which is a sub body of the Lashkar-e-Toiba.
And Indian Army is doing their best that they can, but the operation is getting intense every day. We have reports coming in that the firing is getting intense with every day passing by, and with that information, with that updates, we have visuals coming in from the homes of these brave soldiers, where we can see their families, and reports have been coming in how they were planning out their lives. What was the last phone call they had with their family members and everything. So I think it's very disheartening to see that after the loss of 3 important soldiers, 3 important brave heroes of the Indian Army, but the operation is still going on, and I hope that their sacrifice will not go in vain, and Indian Army will be apt to capture them as soon as they can, because these terrorist activities raising grave concern. As I was reading about South Kashmir, the area, particularly Pir Panjal, in the last 2-3 months there have been 75 casualties of civilians. We are not talking about army soldiers here, we are talking about civilians. 75 civilians have been killed in either side of the Pir Panjal. So it's raising a grave concern about peace in Jammu Kashmir, because terrorists have different plans and they are trying to move the politics in Jammu and Kashmir. And even though the recruitment has fallen to a great rate, but the activities are surging again. And after the operation that has been going on for 3 days, it's scary to even think about that. How are they going to tackle this information? How are they going to bring back normalcy, and how are they going to get the crux of this whole operation and get those who were responsible, the terrorists who are responsible for the attack and for the disruption in the Jammu and Kashmir valley. So all we can do is that we can wait.
It's a huge farewell to the Anantnag bravehearts, ladies and gentlemen. Sandeep Kaur and Manjeet Kaur, the sister and mother of Colonel Manpreet Singh, they mourned his death, and we're getting visuals of the same. The Jammu and Kashmir Police DSP Humayun Bhatt's wife broke down yesterday during the wreath-laying ceremony in Srinagar. At the Panipat house of Major Ashish Dhonchak, who also died in the encounter in Anantnag. His mother said that he had promised her that he would attend a housewarming at their new home on the 23rd of October, his birthday. His birthday was right around the corner. We have a report from Major Ashish Dhonchak's residence, what it's like over there almost 40 hours later, the Anantnag encounter and the fatal tragedy that took place. Let's take a look at that report and then we'll come back for more.
जम्मू कश्मीर में आतंकी मुठभेड़ में शहीद हुए मेजर आशीष के पार्थिव शरीर को पानीपत में उनके सपनों के घर में लाया गया। जी हाँ, उनका परिवार ऐसे तो सेक्टर 7 में ही किराए के मकान में रहता था, लेकिन जिस घर में अक्टूबर में यानी अगले महीने आशीष अपने परिवार के साथ शिफ्ट होने वाले थे, उनके ख्वाबों का घर था। बड़ी शिद्दत से सपने संजोकर उन्होंने घर बनाया था। तो परिवार वालों ने उनकी शहादत के बाद भी जो उनकी इच्छा थी उसका ख्याल रखते हुए ये तस्वीरें मैं आपको दिखा रहा हूँ। ये पानीपत में TDI सिटी है। इसी TDI सिटी में आप तस्वीरें देख सकते हैं कि घर के भीतर उनके पार्थिव शरीर को रखा गया है। घर के भीतर और बाहर बड़ी तादाद में लोग उनके अंतिम दर्शन के लिए पहुंचे हैं। परिवार के लिए बेहद दुख का माहौल है, गम का माहौल है। चूँकि इकलौते बेटे थे अपने परिवार के मेजर आशीष, 3 बहनों के इकलौते भाई थे, 3 साल की एक बेटी है। और आप अंदाज़ा लगा सकते हैं कि किस तरीके से परिवार पे दुखों का पहाड़ टूट पड़ा है। कहाँ तो परिवार इस तैयारी में जुटा था कि अक्टूबर में, चूँकि 23 तारीख को उनका बर्थडे होता है, 23 अक्टूबर को, तो उसी अपने जन्मदिन के मौके पे उन्हें आना था। उन्होंने वादा किया था अपने परिवार वालों से कि 23 अक्टूबर के करीब वो आएंगे, और उसी दौरान ये जो आप घर देख रहे हैं जिसे मेजर आशीष ने एक बनवाया था, इसी घर में परिवार को गृह प्रवेश की पूजा होनी थी, उनका जन्मदिन मनाया जाना था और इसी घर में परिवार को शिफ्ट होना था। लेकिन उससे पहले ही वो शहीद हो चुके हैं, शहीद हो गए हैं। और इस वक्त आप देख सकते हैं कि किस तरीके से कितनी भीड़ है उनके घर पे, उनके दोस्त, उनके रिश्तेदार, उनके परिजन, उनके परिवार के लोग। अंदर आप देख सकते हैं कि रो रो के परिवार के लोगों का बेहद बुरा हाल है। फिलहाल जानकारी ये है कि यहाँ अंतिम दर्शन के बाद मेजर आशीष के पार्थिव शरीर को यहाँ से कुछ दूरी पर जो उनका पैतृक गांव है बिंझौल, वहाँ ले जाया जाएगा, जहाँ की उनका अंतिम संस्कार किया जाएगा। लेकिन वाकई जिस तरह से, जिस वीरता से मेजर आशीष ने शहादत दी है, उस पर देश को गर्व है, देश को नाज है। लेकिन वहीं दूसरी ओर परिवार पे दुखों का पहाड़ टूट पड़ा है। ब्रिजनिस्ट राजू यादव के साथ सुमंत कुमार, TV9 भारतवर्ष, पानीपत, हरियाणा।
From the residence of Major Ashish, and we can see the families have been, the whole village is there to say last salute to Ashish, and it's disheartening, Kabir, to see the plans that these soldiers must have had. You know,
we'll be home next month for birthday and housewarming. I mean, we just learnt it.
Yeah.
And October 23rd, it was that particular building. It seems like a new house, a new residence. There was going to be a housewarming. Ashish Dhonchak, the major, had promised his mother that he's going to be there. Even Colonel Manpreet, he told his mother that in the last conversation that they had on the phone call was on Sunday, when the soldier told his mother that, why don't you rest up? Why don't you take some rest? And I'll be home soon.
I mean, reading about all, family members and what they have been going through. And when, you have the whole country mourning with you, the loss of these brave soldiers. I was reading, the one expert in the Indian Express as well. And, there was the last phone call between the commanding officer and his wife was that, he called him and he said that, "Main operation mein ja raha hu, I'll call you back." And then he never did. So,
which is why I say again and again that the families are equally as brave as
they
these
have
soldiers.
to be, yeah, true.
But the problem at hand, Nancy, take a look at this, how the Times of India puts it. Tight grip at home, but terror infrastructure thriving in Pakistan. This is coming from the officials. Pak Army ISI nexus actively helping Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed. The Anantnag encounter, in which an army colonel and a major as well as the J&K police DSP were killed on Wednesday, is a grim reminder that the terror infrastructure remains virtually intact across the border in Pakistan and Pakistan occupied Kashmir, beg your pardon. Security establishment officials have confirmed the same. Terrorist violence has witnessed a significant reduction in J&K over the last couple of years due to the army maintaining a robust counter-infiltration grid, as well as the excellent synergy between the intelligence agencies and security forces in the counter-terror operations in the hinterland. But that does not mean that there is any change in Pakistan's strategy to fuel its proxy war in J&K. The terror infrastructure across the border is alive and kicking in the shape of training camps, launching pads and the like. The Pak Army ISI Combine continues to extend active help to various tanzims like Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Al-Badr and others, with infiltration attempts across the line of control being largely thwarted by the Army Northern General Command. Chief Lieutenant General Upendra Dwivedi on Wednesday said terrorists are now also infiltrating through Punjab and Nepal. Pakistan is up to its old tricks of sending terrorists across the border to disturb peace in J&K. There is especially a discernible attempt by Pakistan to revive terrorism in areas south of the Pir Panjal range, which is again, Nancy, what you were talking about. As per intelligence inputs, Pakistan continues to harbor over 150 well-trained terrorists at border launch pads. Now, there are various launch pads that he's talking about as well. Moreover, there is the growing narco-terror nexus being sponsored from across the border. The Resistance Front, the TRF, a proxy of the Lashkar-e-Taiba, has claimed responsibility for the killing of Colonel Manpreet Singh and Major Ashish Dhonchak. of the 19 Rashtra Rifles and DSP Humayun Muzammil Bhatt in the fierce gunfight in the Kokarnag area of Anantnag district, over where for the 48 hours, the gunfight has continued and it is still going on. Meanwhile, we have these two terrorists encircled. Of course, the forces have persisted. They are pressing on. Take a look at that. Some of the deferred visuals that we're getting from South Kashmir, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, Kabir, you were right to point it out that, Pakistan, India has been saying it for the longest of time that, terrorism, we can fight off terrorism as much as we can, but, where are they getting the support from, where are they getting the fundings from? And we have been raising fingers at Pakistan that, they are the one who, who can help us in eradicating this problem from the roots, because somebody is harboring them, they are getting fundings from Pakistan, to who is, how are they able to survive for so long without, any it is clear that these Uzair Khan that we were talking about, they are already in the hit list, but how are they surviving? Who is protecting them? And Pakistan has a big role to play because we are sharing borders with Pakistan, and the border area has always been, there needs to be now strong vigilant against Pakistan, that if they stop harboring them, we can eradicate the whole problem from the roots.
No, we have been doing, I mean, even if Pakistan doesn't stop, we have the wherewithal. It's just that the south of Pir Panjal, the topography gets really treacherous and challenging. We can already look at it in the visuals. And if you listen closely, you can hear a couple of gunshots as well. That is the peculiarity of South Kashmir. South of Pir Panjal, things get a little tricky, things get a little difficult. When it gets cold in the winter months, these terrorists also come and harbor inside villages as well, living inside people's homes. Radicalization has been curbed, a lot, but it still does happen in, the remotest of areas. And the South Kashmir, yesterday we were talking to a former DGP of Jammu and Kashmir who said that people are aware of exactly what's, what the trouble is. But you can't just go, flailing bullets on the entire village, killing everybody as collateral as well. You saw those smoke of the grenade or the smoke bomb, whatever warfare is currently on. The encounter is absolutely underway. Count on News 9, ladies and gentlemen, to give you all the latest details coming right out of South Kashmir. As of now, the Kashmir encounter is still on. The army police have intensified the crackdown on terrorists as the Anantnag encounter is still on after 48 hours. Meanwhile, the Jammu and Kashmir police paying tribute to the brave heart DSP Humayun Muzammil Bhatt, who laid down his life in that joint operation in Kokarnag of Anantnag. Our hearts and prayers with those who have lost their loved ones, with the families of these three brave hearts that are equally brave. A big salute to all three of them. All right, Nancy, let's move on and let's hope that, the encounter that is currently on, our forces are able to neutralize both the terrorists that have been encircled. Meanwhile, a long list for us to cover. Yesterday, the Prime Minister, he took on Udaynidhi Stalin's remark. And should I say Udaynidhi Stalin or should I say the DMK's remark? Because you've got Udaynidhi Stalin, you've got A. Raja, and you've got one more DMK leader. Is it Ponmudi?
Yeah, Ponmudi.
I'm not too sure. One of the ministers that have come out and, supported Udaynidhi Stalin's remarks. Not entirely. Some saying that, what he meant to say was this, he should have said this, but we'll focus on what Udaynidhi Stalin actually ended up saying. And you were right in saying that, MK Stalin, and even as we're talking about MK Stalin, take a look at this, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Right on the front page, there's a fresh scheme that the DMK leader and Tamil Nadu Chief Minister has launched. The launch of the Kalainer Magalir Urimai Titham. This is what, M.K. Stalin has launched today. It says, by Thiru M.K. Stalin, Honorable Chief of Tamil Nadu, rupees 1,000 per month, 1 crore women to be benefited, not a largesse but a recognition of rights. So even as there is damage control that's being done by M.K. Stalin for what his son had said, it seems like the Prime Minister has now taken it up. The opposition wants to destroy Sanatana Dharma, says the Prime Minister. His first attack on the INDIA bloc, let's not forget, is it going to be the Brahmastra? Because the Prime Minister is going to make sure that, he's not going to say words for no reason. If he's going to take a jibe, he's going to make sure that it hits and it lands.
Definitely.
His first attack on INDIA bloc over Stalin Jr.'s remark. I'm just going to quickly take, read out what the quote says. It says, the Ghamandi alliance neither has any policy, nor issue, nor a leader. Neta, Niyati, Netritva. It has a hidden agenda of pushing the country into 1,000 years of slavery. Every follower of Sanatana Dharma in every corner of the country and every lover of the nation has to be vigilant. We have to stop these forces unitedly, is what the Prime Minister said. You know what, Nancy, how about we listen into what the Prime Minister said and then we'll come back. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what the Prime Minister said, his first attack on the INDIA bloc, and when he took on the Sanatana Dharma Rao and says the opposition wants to destroy Sanatana Dharma. Take a look, take a listen.
इस स्वतंत्रता आंदोलन में फांसी पाने वाले वीर कहते थे कि अगला जन्म मुझे फिर ये भारत मां की गोद में देना। जो सनातन संस्कृति संत रविदास का प्रतिबिंब है, जो सनातन संस्कृति माता शबरी की पहचान है, जो सनातन संस्कृति महर्षि वाल्मीकि का आधार है, जिस सनातन ने हजारों वर्षों से भारत को जोड़े रखा है, ये लोग मिलकर अब उस सनातन को खंड खंड करना चाहते हैं।
अब ये लोग मिलकर एग्जैक्टली उस सनातन का क्या करना चाहते हैं वो तो वक्त ही बताएगा, और प्राइम मिनिस्टर इस सनातन को किस तरीके से बचाते हैं वो भी देखना पड़ेगा। लेकिन ये प्राइम इशू बन जाएगा बिफोर and in the run up to the 2024 elections. That is going to be something that people are now going to start talking about in the days to come. Expect articles to come on Sanatana Dharma, and many people are also saying that this is one way of DMK making sure that Tamil Nadu doesn't swing again. Usually it swings between AIA, DMK and the DMK. It's one way to make sure that that fight towards making sure that it stays with the DMK, it's helping out the DMK on that front. But the DMK is also an alliance partner with the INDIA. Now again, when we're talking about the INDIA, it says 14 news anchors on INDIA boycott list. Again, to all the INDIA leaders, आप इधर आके हमसे बात कर सकते हैं. Nothing, no word of hatred, especially being spread around here. But Nancy, what's your take on how the Prime Minister posted himself? It is signaling to the 2024 polls.
Well, Kabir, do you remember when a while back PM Modi said to his BJP and his workers that this needs a proper response, don't say anything right now, we have to give a proper response, and I think this was his proper response. He has made Sanatana Dharma a key issue of his campaign. The first day he starts campaigning for the 2024 elections, and the first issue that he picks up is this Sanatana Dharma jibe. So I think DMK served him in a gold platter that please take this agenda, and PM Modi is going to use this as an opportunity. He's the way he is saying that they are trying to eradicate Sanatana Dharma, and they are going to push back India into 1,000 years of slavery that we have been coming up. They are going to they are trying to attack Hinduism, they are going to attack Hindutva. So all of this, I think PM, this is something, and you were right in saying also that this is a good publicity for the DMK as well. Even though Stalin, MK Stalin came out and he apologized that my son didn't mean that, but Udhanidhi Stalin and A. Raja, they have been coming out and openly saying no, we actually meant that. I'm not going to retract my statement, I'm not going to, I stand by it, and this is what I meant. It got lost in translation, they have been justifying it for so long, but people are still talking about it. So that's a win for sure, that they have set an agenda. It's a national issue. It's not limited to Tamil Nadu's politics anymore. Now it's a national issue because PM Modi has taken it as the key agenda for his campaign. The first rally that he starts, he's like, what, India bloc is trying to eradicate Sanatana Dharma. It is helping the DMK, but how is it going to help the India bloc is something that we have to see, because it's going to be very difficult for them to cover up and justify this remark.
What kind of implications and repercussions will this particular statement by the Prime Minister lead to? And what does the DMK leader, Udhanidhi Stalin not backing down, what does that mean for the IND alliance politically and for the society at large? Because this is going to have larger implications than just mere politics, Nancy. So we'll have to wait and find out as to what happens. But the Prime Minister over there, clearly saying that all the Sanatanis, we must unitedly, come together and give them a befitting reply, is what the Prime Minister says. Well, let's move on to the new violence, because there are updates in that new violence probe that is being done by the Haryana government. Take a look at that. Congress MLA included in the August 1 FIR on new clash. Haryana government tells the High Court. The Haryana government told the Punjab and Haryana High Court on Thursday that Congress MLA Maman Khan of Firozpur Jhirka in New had been retrospectively named in the August 1 FIR as one of the accused in the sectarian violence that erupted in the district on the 31st of July. The charges slapped on Khan in the FIR registered at the Nagina police station include promoting enmity between different groups and sections, sections 153A of the Indian Penal Code, and using explosive substances with intent to destroy property, section 436. Now the state said that the head of the SIT nominated the MLA to the list of accused in the FIR on the basis of material on record. These are visuals of the new violence, some file shots that we rummaged through just for the viewers to understand exactly what had happened. All cop cars, take a look at that. Brazen violence right in the face of it. That's exactly what happened. Now this Congress MLA's name being added retrospectively. I mean FIR दर्ज हो चुकी है, उसके बाद आप एक कांग्रेस MLA का एक नाम आप ऐड कर देते हैं, hailing from the Muslim community. Of course people will now ask the question, why is the Haryana government, that is currently a BJP dispensation, putting a Congress MLA's name who's a Muslim in an already sensitive area like Nu, which is heavily Muslim dominated. All of those questions will come about. But in that noon riot, Congress MLA's name added to FIR as proof emerged. The Haryana government on Thursday informed the Punjab and Haryana High Court that the Congress MLA from Firozpur Jhirka in Nu district has been named in the FIR, which was registered at Nagina police station on 1st of August after sectarian violence. According to the Haryana government, Maman Khan has been nominated as an accused by the head of the special investigation team after considering the material and the fact that he had not joined in the investigation. Haryana claimed that the MLA was booked as per statement of the co-accused arrested in the case and on the basis of his call details and the statement of his security personnel. The MLA was first issued summons on August 25th, asking him to appear before the SIT on August 31st. However, he did not turn up due to ill health and sought 10 days to join the investigation. He was nominated as an accused in the August 1 FIR on the 4th of September. That's the visual of Maman Khan. And to the right side of the screens is the violence that took place. अब इनका कितना हाथ है इसमें वो तो खैर एक सटीक प्रोब ही बता पाएगा, एक सटीक इन्वेस्टिगेशन ही बता पाएगी. But what is it that you're picking up on your national daily, Nancy?
Well, I've been reading about it in the Indian Express, and it, here it says that ironically, Mamal Khan, as you have mentioned out that he was arrested, his name is added retrospectively in the FIR, and he knew that this is going to this is going to backlash on him. So he already went to the High Court and he said that the Haryana MLA moved to the High Court Tuesday, pleading that all cases related to the violence in Nu should be transferred to an SIT comprising officer not below the rank of Inspector General of Police, with further directions that it will not share its investigation with the political executive. So, as you were correctly pointing it out, that Haryana is, it's the BJP is ruling the Haryana state right now, and then you have a Congress MLA whose name was added retrospectively. So he knew that something is going to happen. So he moved to High Court and he was like, give this, all the cases, all the FIR should go under the SIT. I need an SIT probe. And now that he has also been arrested, we have already in the new violence, they have already arrested 42 people.
Yeah, including Monu Manesar. Take a look at that. It says cow vigilante Monu remanded in judicial custody for 15 days. So the cow vigilante Monu Manesar, you know the social media, post that he made, all that inflammatory content that he posted right ahead of the Jal Abhishek Yatra, the Jal Shobha Yatra of the Vishwa Hindu Parishad. It seems like the Haryana government, there were so many claims that, they were sleeping, they were slow on their feet. The Haryana government and the police are trying to, make up for it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the new violence.
But in this making up of it, let's hope they don't take any knee-jerk reactions.
Yeah, that is what I was, because the investigation has to go on. The way the violence erupted was so sudden out of nowhere. We had this, Hindu Mahaparishad going on, Vishwa Hindu Mahaparishad, we just knew that they are going to do a rally, and then suddenly violence broke out. Police cars, a cleric was also killed in the violence. And after that, the police was very slow to control the situation. I think it took more than a week for the Haryana government and the police to, get the situation in under control. And then now we had, they have been arresting people a lot of times, but sometimes it was also like there is no evidence because, it was a communal clash. There were a lot of people who were already involved in the clash, and where is the evidence coming from? In what basis police is making the arrest? The clarity was not there. And now we have an MLA, Congress MLA. Who has been arrested right now, and his lawyers have been repeatedly saying that the evidence was evidence that were against him have been evaluated properly, but still he is being arrested. So it raises more questions than it answers again, because they are going to hear the case on October 19, but till then he is going to be there. Although they did arrest Monu Manesar, who was one of the prime accused in the new violence, and he has been sent to Rajasthan because there was some deal that first we have to clear the case of the cow vigilant case. So right now he's in Haryana, he's in Rajasthan with his 15-day judicial custody. But the moment that is clear, Monu Manesar has to come back and answer, and the investigation will go on against him as well. But the clashes happened in July, and the facts are getting blurred day by day, because the ethnic violence have happened 2 months ago, and still we don't have any clarity about on what basis the arrest has been happening. So it's going to it
is raising a lot of questions.
It is raising a lot of questions that how the Haryana government is actually handling the case, because it was a communal clash, and I remember when it happened, when it erupted, we had to close the road, the internet was shut down, and a lot of things were happening. So Haryana government really needed to be fast and quick.
And it got a little communal tint to the entire aspect as well.
Definitely. So, it will be, I'm really looking out for how is this going to unfold, if he is responsible, if the MLA Congress MLA is responsible for whatever happened at NU. I think, police should, SIT probe will, the investigation that they will do, then only we'll get to know to the crux of it.
Absolutely. All right, then, ladies and gentlemen, even as the Congress MLA Maman Khan has been arrested, we'll have to wait and find out as to how the Haryana Congress now reacts to this particular development, and we'll bring you the latest details. Meanwhile, a little crime watch, on today's page one. A couple of stories that I've, marked right here on the newspaper, and take a look at this. How years of friendship, and I know we're digressing, Nancy, from the list over here a little bit, but take a look at this. How years of friendship and trust turned into vile betrayal. Helping out colleague in need leads to woman's death. What happened? Pinky and Zakir worked at Nizamuddin railway station as a clerk and technician respectively. Pinky had lent rupees 11 lakh to Zakir a few years ago. Unable to pay her back, Zakir plotted her murder. He took her to Greater Noida and stabbed her. He also poured acid on her face so she could not be identified. Pinky's family approached the cops. They traced her mobile activity and the CCTVs. Now the arrest. Zakir, who was on the leave from office since 1 week, was arrested. Raids at around 60 locations in and around Subhash Nagar. Murder weapon was found. He confessed to have killed Pinky. Helping out colleague in need leads to a woman's death, how years of friendship and trust turned into vile betrayal. And on the other hand, this is the other story that I'm tracking. Nepalese woman's remains found in a suitcase where two people have been held in Jaipur. Police on Thursday made a chilling discovery when they received remains of a Delhi-based Nepalese woman concealed within a suitcase and disposed of in a 200-foot gorge near Nahargarh Hill. Chitrakoot Police Station House Officer SHO Balbir Kaswan said the woman's identity was still unknown. However, based on the state of the decomposition, it is believed that the body is approximately 5 months old. We have arrested 2 suspects in connection with the case. They have been identified as Swapan Mandal, who's 35 years old, who lives in Vaishali Nagar, and Suman Biswas, who's 30 years old, both from West Bengal. Police said that they had learned that a woman had been brought to the city by Mandal for illicit activities and had subsequently gone missing. Acting on this tip, the police conducted a search and, well, they found the suitcase, albeit a little too late, a little 5 months too late. Nancy.
I mean, you know, whenever we hear cases like this, I think 2-3 days earlier, we were doing a story of a Noida man killing his lawyer wife and then hiding the body for 16 hours.
And hiding himself in the room for 16 hours.
And hiding himself with the dead body there. I mean, I don't understand what goes on in the mind of these people. How are they? And, you know, the pattern, the repeated pattern that we have seen, once it's a co-worker, you know, somebody you know, somebody you have trusted your whole life, somebody you have known for your whole life, you know, turns out and do something like this is something I think is, you know, beyond imaginable, because we, you know, we go around and we say that, you know, women need to, you know, learn self-defense, but nothing is ever going to, you know, get you prepared to get killed by your own husband, to get killed by your own friend, because that is something that you don't expect. You're helping out a friend, you're helping out a co-worker, and the next thing that they're doing is they're throwing acid on your face. So I don't understand how we are going to protect, and again it comes down to women are not able to protect themselves. I mean, why, you know, the crimes are being held? I think that is the real question that we should be asking, not ki why, you know, women are not aware of the self-defense techniques that is there. I mean, that is nothing is ever going to prepare you mentally that your own husband will one day kill you and then make you, you know, cut you into 35 pieces and then leave you. I think that is something that no self-defense technique is ever going to, you know, get me prepared for, at least. So instead of blaming the victim blaming has been going on for years and years now. But instead of blaming the victim, now we have to get into the head of men, or we have to get in the head of the murderers. What goes in their mind? How are you able to commit crimes like that, and, you know, being so carefree and being so fearless that yes, I'll cut her up, I'll put her in a suitcase, and then I'll prepare, and then I'll pretend that nothing has happened.
It is a problem. It is a problem. It's a rot in the brain, and who's to blame for that? Is it society? Is it upbringing? Is it nurturing?
Yeah.
Well, there are so many factors at play. There is absolutely not one you know, thing that you can circle down or pinpoint on. But I do understand the passionate argument and where you're coming from, essentially. You know, I'm reading here, it says opposition bloc to finalize seat sharing by month end, which only makes me realize that the Congress party is, you know, soon going to embark on a Bharat Jodo Yatra 2.0.
Yeah.
And we've already seen the impact Bharat Jodo Yatra, you know, had. We're already giving it, you know, names, the numbering, sequels, Bharat Jodo Yatra 1, BJY 1, BJY 2.0.
Yeah. I mean, it was a great step. I think if they are going to do a 2.0 Bharat Jodo Yatra, then I think Congress has, you know, cracked the code right there. Because I've said this earlier as well, that BJP was, you know, the whole agenda of BJP was portraying Congress as a party that is not going to, you know, go in between common men. They are not going to go in between, you know, they are not going to, you know, stand at a tapri, because they are a very sophisticated party. They come from royal families, you know, you know, Shehzada. The PM Modi's Jai, but Rahul Gandhi calling him Shehzada again and again. So I think Bharat Jodo Yatra came out as, you know, something that Congress needed, you know, to go in between, you know, the people's connect was
Rahul
missing.
Gandhi's put out that motorcycle diaries video on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
His Ladakh Leh trip, Pangong, when he went to Nubra Valley, then he went to the Leh main market. The entirety of it he's put out on his YouTube page for, you know, people, for it's on, you know, creative and common license. It can be reused as and when and however the way it is that you want. But, you know, even there, somebody asks him, you know, how did it come to your head that you wanted to come do this motorcycle journey with us. And he says that I did the Bharat Jodo Yatra and we ended it at Srinagar, and I thought that ye to reh gaya, we missed out on Leh. And that's why I wanted to do it in detail, and that's why I wanted to go there. And he sits down there and he's talking to people, and it seems like, he's sort of understood how to go about this, because he asks the person, acha, प्रधानमंत्री यहाँ पर आए थे, प्रधानमंत्री मोदी आए तो थे अभी यहाँ पे, तो एवरीबडी जस्ट सेज कि नहीं यहाँ कहाँ आए थे प्रधानमंत्री, इधर कहाँ आए थे, बस वहीं मेन ले तक ही आए थे, यहाँ तक लद्दाख, यहाँ तक नहीं आए थे. I mean,
Rahul Gandhi is being very smart nowadays, the way he talks in the public as well. And one of the important thing that I noticed about this, after Bharat Jodo Yatra was that, his yatra was disrupted because, there was this case against him and that he was disqualified as MP. But a lot of people came out in support of Rahul Gandhi. They were very sad that Rahul Gandhi was not able to come here, and Rahul Gandhi avoided a few states because it was BJP government was there. So people were actually sad that we want to meet Rahul Gandhi. So Rahul Gandhi is now creating he's rebranding himself as somebody who is so attached to the ground reality, who wants to talk to, who wants to listen to the issues, and the way they're approaching the issues is also so good. Like they're like, yeah, I think we get it that what you were trying to say. There was a disconnect with the audience. There was a disconnect with the people of the country from our side. It's not your fault. It's our problem that we let BJP take over. But now they are trying to re-establish the ties with the common man and common people of the country. I think that is something really it's going to help Congress a lot if they come up with a Bharat Jodo Yatra 2.0, and if it's successful, then I think that's going to help them a lot in the upcoming.
What is the route that they're going to take about this time? Earlier, a lot of people suggesting that north-south has been done. Now it's going to be an east-west sort of a trip.
East-west, yeah. Northeast states.
Again,
and
cutting
Gujarat
across
as well.
the states that are going to go to polls. So maybe begin in Rajasthan or begin on the other side and maybe culminate in Rajasthan. Try to go to places in Telangana as well. From Telangana, cutting across Madhya Pradesh, going to Rajasthan, all these pole-bound states. That's going to be awesome. Chhattisgarh also over there.
Yeah.
So, sab raste mein pad raha hai.
Sab raste mein hai. So I think they are going to, it's a proper, if they plan it out well, if there is no cases pending against Rahul Gandhi.
And we've seen that in Karnataka, the 20 places that they crossed through, those seats went to the Congress party.
Yeah. I think Karnataka elections, the results of the Karnataka election, I think we have to give it to Rahul Gandhi and his Bharat Jodo Yatra. And
I'd say I'd give it to DK Shiv Kumar and Siddaramaiah. Of course, the
push-up
RG factor,
battle that we saw in the rally was something else. That DK Shiv Kumar and Rahul Gandhi doing a push-up battle. I think because this is what marketing is about. This is what Congress should have been doing. This is what they were lacking.
Restoring credibility of Rahul Gandhi.
Being a common man that no, I don't come from a royal family. I'm not I'm not some prince of this country. I'm a normal man. I'm a normal politician, and that is the image that Rahul Gandhi needs to make of himself, because BJP has been at it that they're a very sophisticated party. They're not going to come to and they're not going to ask you about your problems. It is too above them. This is too below them. So I think Rahul Gandhi has hit the nail in the head, and he's like, this is what you want me to do. I am very much capable of doing that, and I'm going to come out. And now he's trying to portray Mr. Modi as somebody who is he is not going to come and talk to you. He's now the Prime Minister of the country now, so he's not going to come to you and ask you about your problems.
Right, absolutely. Opposition bloc hoping to finalize seat sharing by the end of this month. Parties to look at results of last assemblies on parliamentary polls. Omar Abdullah saying, जो जिनकी सीटें हैं वो उनके पास ही रहने दीजिए, उसको मत चेंज कीजिए. So even as the Bharat Jodo Yatra happens, this is the Congress's own effort. This is not an INDIA effort. Will the INDIA, take support from it? Will it, get envious of the fact that Congress can do something so big and the INDIA bloc can't? There's going to be a lot of problems over there as well. So we'll have to see if, cracks will blow into, full blown rifts. That is something that we'll have to wait and watch. But the Prime Minister has hit back at the Sanatana Dharma remark. Congress plans a Bharat Jodo Yatra 2.0, and the opposition bloc hopes to finalize the seat sharing by the end of the month. So that 2024 election wheels and the cog wheels are certainly working. That
and
system
we have a special parliamentary session coming.
Yep, absolutely. And it's the Prime Minister's birthday on the 17th. There is a PM Vishwakarma Yojana that's going to be launched. He's going to do a Jhandarohan ceremony at the Parliament building. It is going to shift from the old building to the new building on the 19th, which is Ganesh Chaturthi. A hectic week up ahead. But let's move on. Let's talk about the Nipah virus. Now, Nipah virus, there are some new fresh cases that have come to light, isn't it, Nancy?
Yeah.
And apart from that, I think even as Veena George, the state, Kerala state's health minister, she believes that, you know, the surveillance team that has been sent by the center, it has collected samples from all these Nipah hit areas. Schools have been shut down. The health minister is absolutely confident that it is not going to be a full-blown outbreak. It is going to be, you know, like how a virus spreads across, they'll be able to contain it. Some 900,000 people have been contact traced now. They're have been kept under vigil. The government is really working. It's you know, it's really toiling hard because people boast of Kerala having a robust health system, and it is going to battle out Nipah virus just like it has in the previous occasions. But what's the latest update per se?
The latest update is that only that the center has sent a team to collect samples of the Nipah virus.
Which it has done.
Which it has done. They have collected the samples, and Karnataka government, after Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, have also you know, set out guidelines.
So Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, two states, you know, with
neighboring states of Kerala.
Neighboring states, borders. Because of the Nipah outbreak in Kerala, they are getting worried now, essentially.
Yeah, and definitely I think they should be, you know, there has to be some vigilance, because even though officials have been coming out and saying that this is not going to be another COVID-19 episode.
But it is a COVID era containment zone in, you know, nine panchayat districts.
Yeah, and I think it's important for the governments to, you know, contain the situation before it goes out of hand, because, you know, we still don't have the proper information that let's not work and let's not, you know, let it be ki nahi, we don't have proper information yet. Let's have a proper information about what the virus is, what are the symptoms, how are you going to, you know, prevent it, what is the cure after, you know, Nipah virus, you get infected by it. So I think Karnataka and Tamil Nadu government are making strict. They have stopped all the, you know, export import that goes out in Kerala. They are trying to maintain that border so that it doesn't go out of Kerala, because 900 people have already been, you know, there in the contact list. So, you know, it can go from, you know, 5 cases to 200 in any, you know, we don't know yet. So until and unless it's confirmed, I think the Kerala government is working really hard right now, and Karnataka government, Tamil Nadu government, you know, being that, you know, alert about the news is something I feel like, you know, it's very important, and it's going to help us in the longer run, because, you know, and it is the...
Well, the desk has just texted me, Nancy. It says that one more case of Nipah virus has been confirmed in a 39-year-old man. So, ladies and gentlemen, we were just talking about, you know, a fresh case. That's the latest update that we're bringing you. There have been 2 deaths, and it is the 4th Nipah virus in Kerala in the recent past. But take a look at this. One more case of Nipah virus confirmed in a 39-year-old man who is under observation in a hospital in Kozhikode. Now, I was speaking to a public health expert, an epidemiologist, who said that, you know, the Kozhikode ecosystem is something that we have to look at as well, because the Kozhikode ecosystem is, according to recent history, vulnerable to fruit bats and the spread of Nipah virus, because it is a jump zone. Now, what is a jump zone? Where you cut down forest, you start living there, you start going into areas where it actually belongs to these, you know, the wildlife, the wildebeest, and in that flora and fauna, wild bats are also there. And these fruit-eating bats, they then eat the fruit. That fruit is something that you pluck, and you don't essentially wash, or, you know, you consume that toxic fruit. That's how you get it, and once you get it, you can then transfer it to other humans. That's essentially what the process is. Now, the problem here is that many can't figure out whether they have common cold or viral fever, or is it Nipah virus,
because the symptoms are not very,
and in severe cases it could lead to coma and encephalitis as well.
Oh, so, you know, this can be, you know,
dangerous.
one has to be very careful. Although it's not, as you, you know, pointed it out, that it's not going to be another pandemic,
it's
of
not.
But it's still dangerous, that we have to be careful about it, that how, you know, it can affect the one person, and it can lead, we have seen people dying from it as well. So
Yep.
we have, because I think that right now everybody needs to be careful, because the the wave of the climate change, the weather are changing continuously. We have seen
Two
that
deaths already.
two deaths already,
Yep.
and we have reported that there is new strain of dengue as well. We have a new variant
Den 2.
as well. So
Yep.
these
a more severe strain of dengue. Yep.
which is leading to organ failures, that people are getting heart attack, people the liver organ failure is there. So these kind of viruses, and sometimes, because the symptoms, as you correctly pointed it out, that fever and cold, this is something that we think nahi hum log goli khayenge then we'll get better. But these kind of things.
What was that you said? Crushing up some paracetamol, putting it in some water
Yeah.
and drinking it.
Yeah, exactly. Because at that time everybody was convinced that COVID can be cured by paracetamol. So
My goodness, that remdesivir,
Yeah.
scam, so much that happened, which is why please, go to the right source of information. The Indian Medical Association is putting out updates. You can go to the Kerala Health Ministry's, website for the latest updates. And, of course, people out there are going to say that, you're just marketing yourself. But, well, let me do that as well. You can count on News 9 to bring you only the corroborated information. Nothing that is put out in a jiffy. We take into account why confirming news is of the essence in today's time. All right, let's move on. Even as schools are shut in Kerala, Nipah samples have been collected. One more case of Nipah virus that has been confirmed. Let's wait and watch. Let's find out exactly what's happening on the ground. An update from the Kerala Health Minister Veena George is soon going to be amongst us as well. All right, right here on the front page, and I'm sure you're going to carry it, the other newspapers are going to be carrying it as well. It says 6-year ban for convicted netas is inadequate. This is what the amicus has told the Supreme Court. Government employees get dismissed after conviction. Even a class 4 employee would be terminated from service once convicted for an offence involving moral turpitude, not to speak of class 1, 2 and 3 employees. CVC, NHRC and other such bodies bar convicted individuals from becoming members or chairpersons. The law, Section 8, Subclause 3 of the RP Act, has put convicted politicians on a different footing. Now, this is what the centre said in 2020, and it's important that we note this as well. Nancy, take a look at this. The centre said in 2020 that there are no specific service conditions laid down in respect of elected representatives, even though members of parliament and members of legislative assemblies are public servants. Their conduct is bound by propriety and good conscience, and they are expected to generally work in the interest of the nation. There is no justification for the challenge to the constitutional validity of Section 8, Subclause 3 of the Representation of People's Act. What is it that you are picking up? A little understanding that needs to happen here.
And I think it's important that finally somebody is bringing that issue up, because the battle between how the rules are different for because we have some special citizen in our country, which is politicians and civil servants. All of them, both of them working for the central government or the state government, because they are government employees. They are not you cannot have there is a act as well that you cannot convict a politician over any FIR that has been lodged against them. They are protected in in several cases, but it's not the same case with the civil servants. So whenever something happens, whenever scam is there, when any corruption case is there, so you convict both of them. But the politician, because there is already a bill that exists that politicians cannot be convicted, and then the trial that will go against them is not going to, because politician is a public figure. People can stage complaints against them, people can create cases against them. So the court gives exemptions to politicians, that if you are a politician, there is not going to be a trial for you. You're going to get suspended only for a shorter period of time, or something like that, or you might get disqualified. But when it comes to civil servants, there is nothing like that.
They get terminated.
It's
a question of disparity. It's a question of equality, ladies and gentlemen, basically. Now, this is what the premise of the case actually is. Days after the Supreme Court agreed to take up the issue of convicted politicians' eligibility to contest elections, amicus curiae Vijay Hansaria on Thursday told the Supreme Court that while government employees got dismissed on being convicted, a similarly placed politician only got disqualified for 6 years. Highlighting the disparity, the senior advocate who is assisting the Supreme Court in the matter relating to fast tracking of trials in criminal cases against sitting and former members of parliament and MLAs said that as per service rules applicable to central government and state government employees, a person convicted for any offence involving moral turpitude is liable to be dismissed from service. Even a class 4 employee would be terminated from service once convicted for an offence involving moral turpitude, not to speak of class 1, 2 and 3 employees and persons holding any office under the All India Services Act 1951 and the rules framed thereunder. The amicus reeled off a list of statutory authorities including the Central Vigilance Commissions, the NHRC and other such bodies which bar individuals convicted of offences. Well, involving moral turpitude and the disparity of how civil servants get terminated, but a sitting politician or a neta will get disqualified only for 6 years, and there's a disparity over here. That this is what the amicus curiae has told the Supreme Court, Nancy.
And I think it's important development because finally we are raising the disparity, because I feel like whenever I think a corruption case is there, whenever the if a civil servant or a neta is involved, I wouldn't say that netas or the politicians are the ones to blame the most, but I think they have that resources. They have the resources way more. They are exploiting the resources way more than a civil servant could do, because their their circle where they can reach out is obviously going to be way more strong or way more vigilant than that of the civil servants. So I feel like this disparity has to be addressed, because politicians, whether politician or not, a civil servant or not, if they have done something wrong, if they are being convicted in a corruption case or any kind of scam case, there needs to be some actions taken against them. So 6 years ban and being terminated for your whole life, I think this disparity needs to be addressed.
No, even if it's a suspension, I mean, at least you stop getting your pay, and the people start noticing. In a government employee and a neta, the kind of sway they hold is absolutely different from what a neta has or a government employee does.
I mean, definitely, we have been reading cases of, how there is, some special, if you see a politician who is getting convicted, we get it that, there is acts protecting them about if they do something wrong, if they are convicted wrongfully in a case. There needs to be some kind of exemption, because they have to, we have to get them accountable for whatever they have done or not. And civil servants, if they, if they come out and they are being terminated, they are out of job, and it's a serious offense against them that they are being convicted as civil servants. So I feel like, that finally it's good that, in a democracy we are talking about equality, we are raising the concern about disparity. I think that is something very important, and we need to address it as soon as we can.
All right, some other important information that I'd like to throw out as well. And Nancy, when we're talking about Chandrayaan 3 and Aditya L1, there's another important maneuver that our spacecraft Aditya L1 has made in the earthbound maneuvers outside the Earth's orbit. It says the 4th earthbound maneuver, EBN number 4, is performed successfully. ISRO's ground stations at Mauritius, Bengaluru, SDSC, SHAR and Port Blair tracked the satellite during this operation, while a transportable terminal currently stationed in the Fiji Islands for Aditya L1 will support the post-burn operations. The new orbit attained is 256 kilometers, which is the closest point to Earth, and 1,21,973 kilometers, which is the farthest point in the new orbit of the Aditya L1. The next maneuver, which is the Trans-Lagrangian Point 1 insertion, the transfer to the Sun-Earth L1 point, that is going to happen next. A send-off from the Earth towards the Lagrange Point 1 is scheduled for the 19th of September, which is, wow, Ganesh Chaturthi. What an auspicious day, for ISRO to carry out this particular maneuver. Is scheduled for the 19th of September around 200 hours IST. So 200 hours would mean 2 a.m. In the wee hours of the morning. Late at night, when the moon is going to be out, India is going to be making its way towards the sun.
I think you have been covering the story for the longest of time. You will be able to give out details more peculiarly. But I think, you know, the Aditya L1 mission and Chandrayaan 3 mission, they have put India into the global map, I would say. They have done...
Yep, absolutely.
Because after Chandrayaan 3's success and the successful launch of the Aditya L1...
You've got South American nations that are tying up with various other nations. You've got African nations that are tying up with superpowers. Why? Because they now want to go to the moon. People are looking at India and now they think that if you want to be considered as a top global power, you must make your way to the moon.
And definitely, and when we were doing the shows on Chandrayaan and Aditya L1, you know, when we were talking about ISRO's history, from carrying rocket particles on cycle to helping other countries launch their satellites, that we have been, you know, providing them with the PSLVs, with the launching pads that come, you know, we are going to help you, you can launch your satellites from our country. I think the journey has been beautiful and we have been getting only good news when it comes to Aditya L1. The first, and out of 5, I think 3
It's a great business. I'll tell you what, because we've put our, you know, lunar module up on the lunar surface. Let's hope that when the sunlight again comes, you know, it does revive again. We'll get to know about that very soon as well. But we put that module up for 600 crore, you know, 1920, upar niche, which is almost like twice the amount of a SS Rajamouli film. Or maybe lesser than that. I don't know. We spend a lot of money on making films as well. But when we use our own PSLV, GSLVs to send other satellites up in space, you know, that is exactly when we make the money that we've lost out on as well. So it's a great business strategy. But to tell the viewers of what a Lagrange point 1 essentially is, so you've got the sun and you've got the earth, and the 1/10th point between the sun and the earth. We're traveling 15 lakh kilometers. With that point is going to be 1/10th of the entire way. But the gravitational pull of the sun, which is super strong, it's holding the entire solar system together, and the gravitational pull of the earth, at that Lagrange point in the middle, they cancel out each other. So you're basically stationed right in one position. And in that one position, you have an unobstructed view of the sun. Aditya L1 is going to go there. It's going to use all the spectrometers and all the, you know, inferences and all the scientific experimentation modules that have been fitted onto its spacecraft. From there, it is going to carry out experimentation. Let's just hope that it can send back good pictures from there as well, Nancy, because the pictures that we saw of Chandrayaan 3, those were impeccable, absolutely stupendous. Let's hope that we get a good view of the sun, because Lagrange point 1 has an unobstructed view. All right, let's move on. Let's take a look at some international developments now, Nancy, shall we? I was talking about Hunter Biden. You know, he's been indicted in that particular case. Let's just quickly read about that. So, ladies and gentlemen, shifting our focus to the international segment, क्योंकि भाई दुनिया भर में क्या हो रहा है उसके बारे में ही बात कर लेते हैं. Let's not be so naive and full of ourselves. Times Global, where is it? Do we have a special segment, a special take on?
Here it is on the Indian Express, and the headline, the first headline is that first prosecution of a president's child. So it's been the first prosecution against the president's child for the first time since Biden's son.
A lot of first times happening. Now, first time a U.S. president being indicted in the shape of Donald Trump, and then you've got a Hunter Biden as well.
And then we have an impeachment trial against Biden already going on. And here it says that US President Joe Biden's son Hunter Biden was criminally charged on Thursday after efforts to reach a plea deal failed, leading to the first ever prosecution of a sitting president's child. The indictment filed on Thursday US District Court in Delaware with 3 criminal counts related to making false statements in connection with the purchase of a firearm and illegally possessing the firearm as a drug addict. So in 2018, he bought a gun illegally, and that is why what he's being charged on. And you know, he said that prosecutors have accused the younger Biden of lying about his use of narcotics where he purchased a Colt Cobra handgun in October 2018. The indictment brought by a recently elevated US Special Counsel David West comes after a deal for Hunter Biden, who is 53-year-old, to plead guilty to 2 misdemeanors tax charges as well.
All right then, because you know what's important here is that The indictment comes as the congressional Republicans pursue an impeachment inquiry into the Democratic president,
Yeah.
in large part over Hunter Biden's business dealings. So the president's impeachment also comes on Hunter Biden's business dealings, most primarily.
Yeah.
Again, another case of how the son is making it difficult for the father.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I guess MK Stalin can relate to Biden right now. But when you talk about it, we have Trump's trial also coming up. We have Biden's impeachment inquiry going on, and now we have Hunter Biden joining the club as well. And a gun and firearm act that has been going on for so long, gun violence, that we have been covering so many cases. And when you come out and say that precedents, and this is the first time that there has been case against a sitting president, and he's already 53 years old, and we are talking about a case that happened in 2018, and now he's saying that he lied about what he doesn't have the proper license to hold a gun, and he illegally bought it, and he lied about what are his
Whilst he was
intentions.
a drug addict, there's a drug addict angle
Yeah.
over there as well.
Drug addict angle there as well. So when we talk about these, obviously his inquiry comes, it's related to Biden's impeachment inquiry as well. So it's going to be tough for Biden right now, because he's the president of the US right now, and his government is already he came out and he said that the Republicans are against me, they just want to eradicate democracy from this country, that is why they are doing all of this. There's no solid base of the case that has been against me. But I feel like these kind of cases, they come and go. But although we are talking about guns here, which is already a sensitive issue in America right now, so it comes amid that and amid the impeachment inquiry. So it will be interesting to see what happens in the case, whether he'll get convicted in it, or how is it going to impact Biden's image and Biden's impeachment inquiry that has already been going on. So that will be an interesting unfolding of the event.
Right. You know what? Let's move on. Let's also talk about the aliens that Mexico has put forth in front of the entire world. Fraud or not, people can't stop talking about aliens. I mean, it is interesting. It is interesting to talk about aliens.
Definitely.
I mean, when you start to think, what if? That what if leads you to so many conversations. Fraud ? Doubts raised over ET. Extraterrestrial corpses presented before the Mexico Congress. But what's important is that NASA released its report on UFOs. This is what it actually says. It says that NASA released its findings from a long-awaited study on unexplained flying objects, the UFOs, and the US Space Agency announced last year that it was reviewing evidence regarding unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAPs, which has replaced the term UFO. So unexplainable flying objects has been replaced with UAPs, unidentified anomalous phenomena. In an earlier essay on the NASA website, Neil deGrasse Tyson, the astrophysicist, said that it would be egocentric of humans to assume that we are the only life in the universe, which I agree.
Yeah, true.
It is an egocentric take. At the moment, life on Earth is the only known life in the universe, but there are compelling arguments to suggest we are not alone. Now, NASA UFO report, these are the updates. What happened so far? NASA officials spoke about a newly published lengthy study into hundreds of reports of UFOs, or UAPs as it calls them. The report says most UFO sightings have been explained, but there are a few that are not known human-made or natural phenomena. NASA says there is no reason to conclude that extraterrestrial sources are behind the UAPs, but it also cannot rule out that possibility. NASA is no longer using the term UFO in its main communications around the subject of mysterious objects spotted in the sky, while that term, which stands for unidentified flying object, is one of the most commonly associated with the subject by most of us. The US-based space agency now opts for a rather less catchy unidentified anomalous phenomenon.
I mean, I think Neil deGrasse Tyson was correct to point out that it would be egocentric of us to assume that we are the only, human, we are the only living beings, and we are the only civilization to exist. And I saw the skeletons that were presented in the Mexico's Congress.
Absolutely, we all saw those, those visuals of those aliens. And I'm going to request the control room, if you can rummage through the files and put across, what we showed the viewers. the aliens that were shown, and it says right here, is it actually fraud? Paper mache dolls. Mexican journalist Jose Jaime Mawson, who presented 2 boxes with supposed mummies of aliens before the Mexico Congress, and we'll just show you those visuals, made similar claims in Peru in 2017. A report by that country's prosecutor's office found that the bodies were recently manufactured dolls which have been covered with a mixture of paper and synthetic glue to simulate the presence of skin. The bodies were not publicly unveiled at the time, so it is unclear if they are the same as those presented on Tuesday. Could it be paper mache dolls? Are we going gaga over Goo Goo dolls?
I mean, the moment, when it came out, the story.
These aliens.
I mean, that would be a huge blow. If it turns out that they are just, made out of paper, that would be a huge blow. But given the history of the guy, I think the moment, the Mexico came out.
It's like a situation where the boy cries wolf,
Yeah, the boy cries wolf.
If it actually is going to be an alien coming from this Mawson guy,
yeah,
nobody's going to believe it.
Believe it, because the moment the moment this news broke out, the articles that were on top was
but
that.
It is intriguing, isn't it?
Nancy? It is definitely.
You look at those faces and
yeah,
maybe it is paper mache, maybe it's mummified children from back in the day.
Yeah.
But it makes you question. It does make you question.
It does make me question that, what if it, because, when this Mexico story came out, the first thought in my mind was that a month ago, I guess 2 months ago in July, there was US Navy officers who went on to, went on and claimed that the US government is in possession of UFOs. And there was a proper UFO hearing going on. Later, Pentagon denied the claims and, the case was dismissed. But when you think about it, first you are like, this is too far-fetched. What are we talking about aliens? We don't have any proof. But then you have people coming up with so much conviction that no, it exists, UFO exists, aliens exist, there are people, we are not alone in this universe. And when they talk about it like this with that much confidence, you have to, give it a thought that what if it's all part of a conspiracy theory? I feel like the aliens don't want us to know about their existence right now, and when they are ready, when they think that we are ready to know about them, they'll show up themselves. So there are a lot of conspiracy theories that are going on, and it makes me question about it as well, that what if it's real, what if these are in fact aliens, and these fossils were dated thousands and thousands years back. So I think it was an important discovery. Given the history of the guy, I think obviously they are going to be proper hearing, proper investigation into it. But what if?
Right. But Nancy, coming back to NASA's year-long UFO report, I'm reading an online copy. It says it outlined how NASA will investigate what it calls the UAPs with improved technology and artificial intelligence.
AI.
It says that it's going to only take into account the public, unclassified documents, so that it can openly be spoken about, and whatever they study, they can put it out in the public domain. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson said that the US Space Agency will not only take the lead in researching possible UAP incidents, but will share data with more transparency as well. There's no proof aliens exist, but they might.
They might.
And that this has been the idea for the longest time as well. The very last page of the report says, there is no reason to conclude that extraterrestrial sources are behind the hundreds of UAPs sightings NASA has investigated. However, those objects must have traveled through our solar system to get here. Although the report did not conclude extraterrestrial life exists, NASA did not deny the possibility of potential unknown alien technology operating in Earth's atmosphere. Again, something like this coming from NASA can only, what I start thinking is that Picasso drew the prototype of a helicopter 400 to 500 years before we finally had the helicopter.
Yeah, true.
And at that time, if you would have told somebody that, there's
They're
a
going to be
lightweight Tejas aircraft, there's a helicopter, we've got our own, lightweight helicopters, choppers, various sizes, alpha choppers, if you would have told them, they would have laughed at you.
Yeah, like most of people are laughing right now as well, that what are they talking about, aliens, how are they going to come? But I think NASA is, I know undoubtedly it's a credible source, even though they are not confirming anything, but they are also not ruling out the possibility that we are not alone in the universe. We are definitely
NASA has weighed in on this viral video from Mexico. Okay, the asked, the NASA our panel was asked about a series of photographs of purported extraterrestrials that were presented to Mexican authorities earlier this week. A self-proclaimed UFO expert, Jamie Mawson, brought to congressional hearing what he presented as two ancient non-human alien corpses. He claimed the bodies had been found in Cusco, Peru in 2017 and that radiocarbon testing dated the objects to be up to 1800 years old. The authenticity of the specimens has been greeted by heavy skepticism in scientific circles, and Mr. Mawson himself has previously made claims of extraterrestrial life that were debunked. NASA scientist Dr. David Spergel told the BBC, make samples available to the world scientific community and we'll see what's there. Well, we'll find out, we'll get down to the bottom of this once you tell us what that carbon dating is that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So, the UFO report is out. UAP, I must call it now.
Yeah.
You can, of course, pick it up on NASA's website, and it's for everybody's perusal out in the public domain. Do give it a read, ladies and gents. All right, let's move on. This is again international news, albeit with a national flavor. You've got Saurav Ganguly, our very own Dada, who's in, Spain, where Mamata Banerjee has gone for an economic conclave, and at that conclave, on the sidelines of that conclave, Dada and Mamata Banerjee, both from West Bengal, both from Kolkata, they had a pull-aside meeting. And in that meeting, what was spoken about? Well, sports was spoken about. Mamata Banerjee met Saurav Ganguly at Spain in her joint meeting with the La Liga president, where Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico de Madrid, you've got all these top-notch teams, from Europe that are playing as part of the La Liga, the Spanish footballing league, for development of football in Bengal. They already have a tie-up because Atletico de Kolkata is already a tie between Atletico de Madrid and, Kolkata FC and Kolkata FC as well. So, what is happening on that front, we'll have to wait and find out. But possible MOU between West Bengal and Spain when it comes to football. And football, like all people from Kolkata, they really love the sport.
Yeah, I mean, first when I saw the pictures, I thought it's such a weird combination of a politician like Mamata Banerjee. Then we have a cricketer like Saurav Ganguly, and then they are meeting a president of the La Liga. So it was something that I was very intrigued at what are they going to talk about, how are they going to weigh in. But later it read out that Mamata Banerjee is actually pitching. She is actually concerned about giving that platform to football, and that we have been trying for the longest of time in India, that India really needs a strong national football team, and we need to give that investment, we need to give that support to the footballers of India. And I think Mamata Banerjee going out to Spain and talking about football and the funding that she might be needing for the football association. So I think it's going to be an interesting thing to watch, the collaboration between Saurav Ganguly, who's also who's also fond of football, and Mamata Banerjee. So I think it's going to be one of the interesting MOUs signed between West Bengal and Spain. So yeah, let's wait and watch what happens after the meet. What is the conclusion of this meeting, and I hope that it brightens the future of football in our country.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on. Let's take a look at some domestic news as well. Some recent developments that have taken shape in Karnataka. The BJP, it seems, is miffed, Nancy, at the fact that it is going into an alliance with the JDS. Now, take a look at that. JDS using BJP. That's the claim that people are making. And we earlier saw these visuals of H.D. Kumaraswamy with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Dissent in BJP over proposed tie-up with the JDS. That's the angle at play over here. Of course, file shots that we're looking at. JDS using BJP to strengthen itself. This is what the BJP MLA has come out and said. Is that the case? Because the BJP in Karnataka will have to look at some partner or the other.
Yeah, definitely. And JDS has been known as the kingmaker of Karnataka, because there is even when the Karnataka elections were going on, JDS factor was always important because, you know, we knew that the seats are going to get divided between BJP and Congress, and then JDS is going to come in and be like, you know, now I'm going to get in alliance with this party or this party, and then they will come in power. So JDS has that image of being the kingmaker in Karnataka. They decide that whoever they are going to favor is going to definitely win the elections. But now after, I think Congress is, you know, I think it was very surprising also. Not much people were expecting Congress to get majority and come in Karnataka and, you know, win the elections. I think it was a big shock to BJP and JDS as well, two of the most, you know, important parties in Karnataka. And I think now if they are going out after, you know, Congress came in, and they are obviously they came in majority. I think now the only option left with JDS and BJP is to, you know, tie up together and, you know, fight Congress in Karnataka. So JDS has always been known as the kingmaker. So I think, you know, whoever they side up with, JDS and BJP, they can use each other right now. They can support each other and, you know, tackle Congress as well. So it's going to be interesting to see a tie up with JDS and BJP.
But is it going to happen or not? Because the BJP MLA is on the ground. I mean, they're going to be calling the shots, and you've got several leaders. If the BJP MLA comes out and says that the JDS is using the BJP to strengthen itself, it might be true as well, because the JDS is in fact looking to strengthen itself one way or the other. And H.D. Kumaraswamy has time and again showed how he only is worried about how he gets to be the chief minister. He wants to bag those 30 odd seats. 40 seat share, you know, is real great for H.D. Kumaraswamy. If you know, past elections are to be looked at. Now lastly, before we wrap the show up, there's one more piece of information, a latest development that we like to show and give to our viewers. At least 24 people were injured after a speeding bus lost control, Nancy, and crashed into the divider and fell down on the Delhi-Meerut expressway. The incident, which took place on Thursday, was captured on the CCTV camera installed in the area. Take a look at that, Nancy. My goodness, my goodness. Just simply falls down. The bus en route from Meerut to Delhi was moving at a high speed when it suddenly veered off its path. What might have led to that? The accident took place within the limits of Mussoorie police station. Upon information, the police immediately shifted the injured passengers to a nearby hospital, and this is why it happened. Driver had dozed off while driving. He just simply went to sleep.
Oh my God. I mean,
now, was he intoxicated? Was he in an inebriated state, or was he just really tired? Is it the fault of the administration that wasn't taking into account the long working hours, or was it negligence on part of the driver who might have not slept or was intoxicated whilst being behind the wheel?
And 24 passengers have been injured during this bus accident.
24 injured, yep.
Yeah, 24 injured, and I think we don't have any information on the, you know, people who must have, you know, lost their lives. I hope there are no casualties in the case.
As of now, no information of any lives being lost, Nancy. Fortunately, no lives were lost. 24 people got injured because this is not a gorge. It's just, it hasn't fallen down, you know, a lot of distance. Of course, it is still is a grave accident, but it's not like falling into a gorge. And thankfully, this is like a planar highway, not a mountainous region.
And we don't have information of the driver being intoxicated or who he just dozed off. I think he's the one to blame. Even if he was intoxicated, I don't think so.
And even if he was falling asleep, he should have just stopped it on the side. And
because
but then again, Nancy, you've got so many, you know, so much. A lot of bureaucratic and administrative pressure on people who are, you know, driving these buses. But that's the information that we wanted to put out. 24 people that have been injured in this particular accident. And with that, it's a wrap on today's Page 1, ladies and gentlemen. That's all the time Nancy and I have for you. Later on in the day at 11, we're going to again go closer to South Kashmir, understand what's really happening over there. In the afternoon, the top story from South India, on the South Indian with Sudha Sadanand, and the top global stories with Neha Khanna under the global lens later in the day. At 7 p.m, we bring you the debate that you should not miss out on, that you do not have to miss out on, absolutely, to the real point that comes at 7 p.m. And during the course of the day, all the latest updates we will have our ears and eyes on the ground, bringing you all the latest details, albeit could be a little slow, but corroborated, confirmed, and the news that you must know. Like I say, news is what is being concealed, not what is being revealed. Many thanks for watching. Keep watching Newsnine.
Gautam Adani, one of the richest men in the world, or a business honcho, accused of manipulating the market.
अदानी जी 609 नंबर से दूसरे नंबर तक कैसे पहुंचे? सिर्फ एक सवाल पूछा, नरेंद्र मोदी जी, आपका अदानी जी से रिश्ता क्या है?
He has given the space, the railways, the airport, which he has no experience also. So the country's interest has been compromised.
Government has been very clearly supporting few industrial groups, including Adani's industrial group.
Target Adani.